Hello everyone. I'd like to tell you about a remarkable woman called Katherine Johnson. I must admit, I'd never heard of her until I saw the movie Hidden Figures, the story of 3 women who went to work at NASA in Langley, Virginia. But there's a fascinating backstory to her life. What is the likelihood, do you think, that a black girl who grew up in the racially segregated 1920s, 30s and 40s in one of the southern states of America would be so well respected that 2 facilities at NASA would be named after her? This is her story. Katherine was born in 1918 in West Virginia and loved learning. Her favourite subject, though, was maths, and she did so well at school that she went to high school at 10 years old and graduated at 13. After this, she went to the historically black West Virginia State College, where she concentrated on being a mathematician. She solved big problems by using geometry, which uses lines, shapes and angles. She graduated with honours in 1937 when she was 18. After college, she became a teacher, and in 1939 she was chosen to be amongst the first 3 black students to attend West Virginia University as a graduate mathematician. By this time, though, she was married to James Goebel, was pregnant, and so she decided to leave and concentrate on her family. She had 3 daughters, and when they were older, she went back to teaching. In 1952, when Katherine was 34, a relative told her that NASA, or NACA as it was then, were hiring African American women to solve maths problems. These women were called human computers. She applied but wasn't successful until the second attempt in 1953. Katherine and her family moved to be nearer to Langley so that she could work there. She worked with a large group of women who were all good at maths, like she was. The office was called Coloured Computers, and due to the segregation laws, they had to have their own facilities, kitchen, canteen and bathroom, which was very difficult at times. But Katherine was different from the other human computers, in that she wanted to learn more about her job and about NASA, so she started going to meetings after work. Before Katherine started, only men attended these meetings, but she changed all that. She learnt so much that she became a team member who worked on different space projects for NASA. Sadly, her husband passed away in 1956 after a long illness, and she later married Joe Johnson, who was in the US Army. The Russian Sputnik launch in 1957 changed the emphasis at NASA. The race for the moon was on. Katherine was involved in the Project Mercury spaceflights, including those for Alan Shepard, the first American in space in 1961, and John Glenn, the first American in orbit around the Earth. When calculations had been made by electronic computers, which Katherine had helped to program, John Glenn said to ask the girl, meaning Katherine, to verify the calculations manually. He so trusted her abilities to do this, otherwise he wouldn't fly. Katherine studied geometry for space travel. She worked out the paths for the spacecraft to go into orbit around the Earth. Later, her work helped to send astronauts to the moon and back. NASA could not have done this without Katherine and her love of maths. Calculating trajectories and launch windows are terms that we might be familiar with, being in an era where we've witnessed the first landing on the moon and the launch of the space shuttle, but these are all part of Katherine's incredible story. Katherine retired in 1986, and she spent her later years travelling, playing cards and spending time with her beloved husband Joe and their friends and family. She also spent time encouraging students, particularly girls, to study the STEM subjects. She told them, "We will always have STEM with us. Some things will drop out of the public eye, but there will always be science, technology, engineering, and always mathematics." In 2015, Katherine was presented with the America's highest civilian award, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, by Barack Obama, who said Katherine Johnson refused to be limited by society's expectations of her gender and race, while expanding the boundaries of humanity's reach. As I said before, 2 facilities have been named after Katherine, namely the Katherine G. Johnson Computational Research Center in Hampton, Virginia in 2017, and the Katherine Johnson Independent Verification and Validation Facility in Fairmont, Virginia in 2019. She even has a satellite named after her, the NewSat-15 or Katherine. Katherine passed away in February 2020 at the age of 101, but her legacy lives on in the efforts of all girls today who aspire to be the next astronaut to land on the moon, or even to go on the first manned spaceship to Mars. One of her quotes is, "Like what you do, and then you will do your best." And this certainly proved to be true for Katherine Johnson and her love of mathematics.